Hello and welcome to Snack Time. I'm your host, Lindsay Adams. This is the podcast where we talk about people's favorite childhood snacks and then talk about if we want to fuck them or not eventually. I'm so excited for our guest today. Every time I introduce someone, I'm always like, a round of applause. So clap in your car, but don't let go of the steering wheel for Josh Gondelman.
Hello. Hi. Thank you
Hi.
for having me. I hope we didn't cause any car accidents.
Yeah, I hope so too. The good news is I think it's just my mom that listens in the car as far as I know, and she has one of those auto steer things.
Oh,
I
I
know. It's very
that's
high
fascinating.
tech.
That's
It
very high tech.
Yeah, and it makes me feel a lot better because she's like a find something in your purse while driving
Mhm.
person.
Mhm.
So, it
She's
makes
like,
me feel
"Who?" She's like, "I got this lifesaver at the
mm,
bottom
it's
and I
like
need it."
it's like and I visited recently. I visited her in New Jersey. So and you're in New York,
Mhm.
correct?
I
So
am. Yeah.
you're experiencing the hell humidity.
It's been very humid. It's like the kind of humid where you walk 3 blocks and you're like, "Well, that was hot." And bad. And then your body is like, oh, time to start sweating now. Got it. And then you get inside and then just sweat another
Yeah.
shower's worth of sweat.
I mean, I have to pay for laundry, so I'm not really interested in having to change 3 times a day. Like, that
Mhm.
was the thing when I was like, "Absolutely fucking not." Um, but we
we we have laundry in our apartment, which is amazing. And so I will, I don't try to overdo it, but this summer I do like change clothes like Carrie Bradshaw or something. I'm just like doing constant wardrobe changes.
I'm so jealous. That's the thing. My boyfriend and I are looking for a new apartment. And like, we really, really, really want our own like in unit washer and dryer because it's just
Mhm.
like, we're adults. Can we please not have to like think about I like you know what my dream would be able to like actually afford to separate the darks and the whites and do them separately versus just like a full on like cold water wash, although I probably wouldn't know how to do that anyway.
No, that's what I still do, as I still am like, "Okay, what is the least damaging way I can just wash all my clothes at once?" I mean, like, you can kinda see behind,
Yeah,
like, I have a couple of things that I take to dry cleaning and stuff, but, like,
right, which
I
is a
but
super
mostly,
adult move.
I feel very adult about it, but some of it is a little immature because it's like, I don't wanna iron this, so
Yeah.
I'll send it out."
No, I never iron clothes and my boyfriend is really big on it and I got him a steamer and it's so rare. I leave the apartment with wrinkly clothes all the time cuz it's just never I don't know why it's just never occurred to me that I could use an iron and
Mhm.
he's always like you have to do something with it because it's literally insane. I've also never dry cleaned anything.
I
Eh,
respect that.
I
Don't
mean
let the clothes tell you who's your boss, you know? Don't let the clothes be the boss of you.
I mean, I think if I had something that wasn't like directly from China and like absolutely made in a sweatshop online, like I buy from those like terrible websites that
Mhm.
and so if I had something that was like worthwhile, I would probably get a dry clean. Kind of similar, like all my sunglasses get thrown in the bottom of my purse because
Right.
they're $5.
Right, totally, and it's like to dry clean something that you got, like, on clearance at Forever 21, not only the clothes would be like, "These chemicals, I'm not ready for them." These,
Oh my God.
and it's like, now you're doubling the cost of that garment if you pay to dry clean
Exactly.
it.
Exactly. I'm like, this isn't worth it. I think, yeah. No, but very adult moves. But yeah, I mean, that's the one nice thing. I wish my mom lived closer so that I could pretend I'm in college and go do my laundry at her
Mhm,
house.
mhm.
but I have enough friends. But anyway,
Yes.
I'm excited because you chose also my cat walked into my lap during this.
Oh,
So if
what a sweet
you're
cat.
listening, it's Sugar Bear and she is needy. So she'll probably meow a bunch. But your favorite childhood snack that you chose is Kix cereal,
Yeah.
and I definitely wanna get into that. So tell me about a Kix cereal, your childhood. Give me the deal. Why
So,
Kix?
so I love cereal as like a snack and
Yes!
as an anytime meal. Like cereal can be a lunch, it can be a dinner if you're like really not feeling any kind of effort or if it's too hot. I also I'm not a big cereal and milk person. So I
Me
usually eat it
neither.
dry. Whoa, really?
Yes, and I have you know what? Are you from the East Coast?
Yes.
Okay, it's like I know so many Midwest people that are, like, really still big on milk, and
Huh.
I know, it's, like, upsetting, but anyway, I will not eat it with milk. I have not in my adult life.
Well, it to me, it just introduces a variable, like it's the juice isn't worth the squeeze, as the expression goes, right? Where it's like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, you get three perfect bites where it goes down easy and it's like a nice crunch and it's not too dry, and then bite four, you're like, oh, am I eating sweet caviar? What is this? Like it's so slimy and mushy, and I
Yeah.
just don't understand how people do it. And I grew up in a milk forward household, like
Really?
not even just for cereal, but I grew up in the got milk 90s, and so we were drinking like a glass of milk at dinner, me and my sister. Yeah.
Interesting.
And I just which I ended up being able to do, like, it was, whatever, that it was like those were the rules of the house, but I didn't
Right.
have to drink it in my cereal, and I never latched onto it. I will occasionally, if it's like a very crunchy, dry cereal, I'll
Yeah,
occasionally have a little glass of milk next to me, and I'll eat the
sure.
cereal and then take a little sip of milk.
Ooh, it's like
So
deconstructed cereal.
yeah, that's right. It's kind of a deconstructed breakfast. It's very high culture cuisine.
Yes, 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 that makes sense, but I love that you don't eat it with milk.
Likewise.
Yeah, my boyfriend will eat it with milk,
Mhm.
and it's gross.
Well, it feels like it's so many different foods over the course of if you're eating it for 5, 10 minutes. It goes
Yeah.
from like, again, the crunchy and slightly moist to like full on like bowl of slugs. And
Full of
right?
slugs. It's true.
It's like
It's
that's
true.
the spectrum. I just like I don't wanna put a ticking clock on my breakfast in quite that way.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and also, I would argue that milk makes it a meal.
Oh, sure, different rather than a snack.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly,
Oh,
because
that's so interesting.
it becomes if you're eating it with a spoon, you're getting into meal territory,
Mhm.
and I guess
Yes.
technically it's not, but it could be more so considered a meal if you're eating it like that, whereas, like, when I eat cereal plain, it's by the handful.
Oh, yeah, I love a handful of cereal.
Yeah,
I love the
absolutely.
box just clean
Oh,
hands,
yeah.
straight into the box,
Yeah.
like the claw game, like one of those claw games.
Yeah, I actually wasn't gonna admit that, but it's fully. I was, like, gonna pretend like I put it in a bowl. I absolutely don't, because you gotta get the stuff at the end too.
Mhm. I'll sometimes go bowl, cereal to bowl, both in
Yeah.
his mouth. But it's like a snack of cereal is like 3 to 5 handfuls of cereal,
Oh,
not
yeah.
necessarily bowl.
I don't think
Yeah.
I think, like, if I buy a box of cereal, I'm eating it all in one day. I
Oh,
may
wow.
That's my personal because I just don't stop, but and maybe I'll break it up. I guess it also depends on the cereal and, like, how light or heavy, like, Rice Krispie I don't even eat Rice Krispies unless I'm making Rice Krispie treats, but,
Sure. An
uh,
underrated dessert, by the way.
I totally agree. There's so much you can do with it, and when they're fresh, they're very, very
They're
good.
so good fresh. It's like such a high yield, low effort homemade dessert.
Yes. And I've made them with, like, all different types of cereals. I made a video at one point over the pandemic called "Will It Crispy?"
Mhm.
And I tried to see how many different I tried to make the grossest cereals into Rice Krispies, and I'll say this, Grape Nuts was not a win,
Ooh,
but
yeah.
Kashi was.
Really?
Yeah,
Fascinating.
Kashi
What
was pretty fucking good.
was grape nuts bad as a flavor, a texture, or both?
Both.
That
I
makes
thought
sense.
I would be able to, like, save it.
Yeah, with enough marshmallow and butter and stuff?
You would think, but it really doesn't budge. It's really it's pretty stubborn. Also, because I remember sometimes I would be able to my mom was really strict about the sugar content in cereal
Okay,
growing up.
so getting into that, if you don't
Yeah.
mind.
Oh
So
my god,
that
please.
Kix was kind of, for a long time when I was a kid, the cutting edge of sugar content. That was the
Yes!
high end of sugar content in my household. Um, and so it was like the sweetest cereal we were allowed, and so we would have it for breakfast and for snacks. And it was very sweet. Like, I think my
Yeah.
parents maybe let us get away with a little something there, because mostly it was like Cheerios, Special K.
Yep.
I think we had a grape nuts phase in my household that did not
Yeah.
take with the children, with me and my sister. And then we worked Kix into the rotation, and it was like
Yeah.
a huge win. It
Oh my
felt
god.
incredible.
Yes. I had the same scenario. Kix was like, that's why when you said Kix as your childhood
Mhm.
snack, I was like, yes, 100%. A
This is
hun
I'm so glad we're so on the same page with this,
yes.
because it really was. I also think, not my parents were not like, I don't think they were fooled by it, but I think
Yeah.
the advertising for Kix was really geared for kids like us, whose parents
Mm,
didn't want us to have sugary cereals, because the slogan for a long time was kid tested, I think mother approved. And
yes.
then it has since been changed. I looked it up recently to the gender neutral kid tested parent approved.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, and, like, a lot of the healthier cereals were marketed as healthier cereals, like
Mhm.
you're saying, and I feel like Kix made it fun,
Yes.
and it also was close enough to tricks
Mhm.
that I was like, "Oh," especially when they had berry Kix,
Mhm. Yes.
um, I was like, "Ooh, I'm eating a fruity sweet cereal."
Berry Kicks took a little more convincing, but eventually we worked that into the rotation as well.
Okay.
And honestly, it is like the biggest. My parents and I get along great, but convincing them to have berry kicks in the house, or berry kicks, excuse me, was like the biggest win I ever had in a dispute with my parents' lifetime.
Shit, that's
Still.
so funny. You know what was a win for us? Every now and then, I don't know what their logic was because this was a pretty far jump. We would get Cinnamon Toast Crunch, like, on the weekends.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch is fully now, that's like,
Isn't
that was
that a
out of
jump?
bounds.
Yeah.
It's such a jump. That is
I
I love Cinnamon Toast Crunch, but even
same.
as an adult, I'm like, the amount I can allow myself to have. It's like when the government is like, "Here's how much drugs you can have before it's a felony." That's how I feel about Cinnamon Toast Crunch. It's like, if I have a lot, it's gonna be bad news if I have a lot
Oh,
less.
it's way too sweet. Like, I don't need it covered in sugar. I'm a big fan as an adult of Raisin Bran because that is the hidden surprise, super high sugar cereal
Yes.
that
Yes.
masquerades as healthy.
Oh, you know what other one we had occasionally? I think we had it at, like, as we got a little older, was Life cereal, which that's
Yes.
just like grains of sugar on the inside. It's like each piece of Life cereal is like a geode with sugar
Yes.
in the middle.
Yes. Well, I grew up with people too. Like, I would have sleepovers at my friend's house
Mhm,
and they would have plain Cheerios,
mhm.
or they would even have, like, some sort of, like, neutral cereal, and then they would have a bowl of sugar on the table, and they would put the sugar on it. Did you have
I've
friends that did
heard of
that?
that. I don't think
Yeah.
I knew anyone that did that. This
I
was not something that was in my life first
yeah.
person.
I would watch them do that, and I was floored. I
I've
was
heard of
just
people doing it with like cornflakes too, and it's like,
yes.
and it's I guess it's like some people, even if they get coffee out, will still put their own sugar and milk in it. Like even if you go to a
Yeah.
Starbucks or a Dunkin' Donuts, and that feels like kind of a home doctored frosted flake to me.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
like,
and I guess if it sweetens the milk,
mhm.
it
Oh, that's
feels like
something.
that's a good balance, but I was always just like, "What the fuck?" We also get used to get honey bunches of oats
Mm.
sometimes.
My grandmother would always have, and this has come up, and I think it's my friend Dan Gerwich, who I used to work
Yeah.
with. He's a very funny comedy writer and comedian. He and I once talked about Cracklin oat bran, which my grandmother would have, which that is like incredibly dense with sugar. And
Yes.
they were selling that as like, look, this is for your intestinal health. Meanwhile, it was
Yes.
like eating a Chips Ahoy that someone mashed into pieces.
It's so funny that you mentioned that because, like, that is my boyfriend's favorite cereal of all time is Cracklin Oat Bran, and he will go out of his way to get it, and it's, like, normally, if he gets something, I'm like, "Oh, can I have a bite?" And he will be like, "Okay." And this is, like, a no share situation, like a
I
full
understand.
on.
It's also like when I see it, I feel like, Wait a minute, did I was I transported somehow to 1993? Like, what's
Yeah.
going on here?" Because it doesn't feel like a cereal that's like as widely available anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, well, you know what? I think we were just in the grocery store the other day and we were looking at cereals and it was sold out. It's always sold out, which is like, I guess that makes sense. I'm like, why don't you guys stock up if it's sold out? But they always have it at Target.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
It bran as like a forward-facing ingredient, like, "Hey, this has bran in it," to me feels
Yeah.
very 90s. Like, we got muffins with
Super.
bran, we got cereals with bran. And then I feel like as when people got more into like superfoods,
Yes.
bran did not make the cut for a superfood.
No, and you know what? You mentioned Special K, and I feel like Special K came along like further down the line
Mm,
in the healthy cereals,
yep.
maybe.
And
Um,
then Kashi just blew it away.
oh, I loved Kashi. I still love the texture of
Mhm.
Kashi. It's just a good, it's just solid as fuck.
It's a good,
It's
very strong texture.
it's a very, and like what's interesting, I mean, look, cereal, do they advertise cereal the same way that they did in the 90s?
I don't know. I always feel like cereal in the 90s, every ad was like, "Children, look me in the eyes. Tell your parents, tell your parents to get this cereal." And it was like a beloved cartoon character, whether it was like Fred Flintstone or like the Smacks frog or whatever, who
Yeah.
was just like, "Go tell your parents you need this fucking cereal so bad. And if you don't
Yes.
get it, then you'll be anemic and your bones will snap in half by lunchtime."
Oh my god, all of 90s advertising for food to kids. I mean, all of 90s advertising in general. I think they have laws now
Yeah.
where you're not allowed to advertise directly to kids, but I mean, I remember commercials that were like, "Tell your parents to buy you," just
Yeah.
like straight up.
Ask your parents about tween Viagra or whatever.
Yeah,
Like, you can't do
it
that anymore.
it literally didn't matter what it was. They were like, "Ask your parents to get it," and I was like, "Oh, you gotta have it."
I mean, when I don't know, I might be a couple of years older than you. We might be around the same age. But when I was like a child, they still had Joe Camel, which is a cartoon
Yes.
camel that sold cigarettes. And I feel
No,
like
I
we're
remember
so
that.
far from that now. Like to bring that up in like 1999, people like, we all remember Joe Camel. But now I feel like we're so far from that the idea of it is like ludicrous. Like if someone was like,
Oh, yeah.
"Hey, what if our cigarettes had like a cool cartoon mascot that was like a camel that has recently had sex." That's like
Yeah.
the vibe of Joe Camel.
No, I mean, it's so true. No, I remember we're probably around the same age. I'm 33.
I'm 36.
Okay. Okay. So not far off. But yeah, like I remember, I mean, I also remember the Marlboro commercials.
Yes. Yeah. And the Marlboro man was like a cool
It's fucking
cowboy guy,
cool.
but Joe Camel was a camel that wore
Mhm.
sunglasses and a suit,
Yeah.
and I think was the first Bitcoin millionaire.
Oh my
Like,
god. Well, what was the cool I feel like I was really drawn to cool cigarettes for
yeah,
some reason, and I'm trying to remember exactly I
I
can't
don't
if
know.
you're listening and you remember the cool what made it cool?
KOOL, right? Is the
Yeah,
brand? Yeah.
KOOL. Yeah. I
Just if you're looking
ended
to
up
buy cigarettes, we'll help you buy those
yeah, no,
cigarettes.
exactly. I hear they're trash. I personally smoked Newports for years, like a
Mhm.
trash bag. Um, but now they have fiberglass. Also, RIP. For some reason now too, I think like during the pandemic, I'm like, I deserve to have cigarettes again. And it's like, no, I don't. What are you
It's
doing?
also like there's a pandemic. This is my I've talked to my wife about this because
Yeah.
like occasionally she'll have a drink or two and be like, I shouldn't do it, but I would really like a cigarette. And like especially this last year, she's been like, no, but I can't. Like there's just like
Yeah.
a lung killing disease in the air, and it's like, but what a better time! Like what more
Yes.
stressful time? Like a cigarette would really feel good, except for like the constant fear of lung collapse.
I mean, and I will say, like, for anyone that is like, ooh, a cigarette sounds good. I have had one. And like, if you want to go into a full panic that you have caught COVID, just because like you feel anything in your lungs, that is the way to go. Same
Right.
thing with vaping.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
Vaping like makes my lungs feel like they just did a workout and they're tired.
Mhm. And it's like, especially if you I imagine if you haven't done it in a long time and you do it now, you're like, "Oh, all the symptoms, here they are immediately."
Oh my God. I can't even believe that like I mean, there was no other time in my life I ever could have smoked than when I was a teenager because I'm
Mhm.
just such a pussy now, and my body is just like, "Absolutely not. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. You'll have major consequences. You're gonna wake up, feel like shit. Not happening."
That's how I feel. I was never a smoker, but even as an adult, when I eat full dairy ice cream, I'm like, "This I should stop doing this." Like, I
Yeah.
know the results this is gonna have head to
Yeah.
toe of disaster, but, like, I need some vice, and it's
Yes.
ice cream.
No, I hear you,
Vice
and
cream. Mhm.
I'm sober, so I'm, like, extra, like, I deserve, like, I gotta have something, but, like,
Sure.
it's I mean, what sucks is it just doesn't work, and it's so funny because this podcast was like, "What's your favorite snack in general?" And then
Mhm.
everybody that I'm friends with is like, "Well, I used to eat this, and then I got heartburn." And it's
That's
like
so funny.
and so
Oh,
I was like, "You know what? Let's" or like they're like, "I used to eat chips and then I would get sick all the time. So now I take care of my body." And I'm like, "Okay, well this is boring but
look,
very real."
you've come to the right place. If you're looking for someone that doesn't take care of their body as an adult, that's my wheelhouse. I would say there were periods last year, and I want to like couch this by saying I had a fairly gentle to date. My experience during the pandemic has been fairly gentle. Like I
Okay.
got to keep my job. Nobody very close to me has gotten very sick. People that I knew have been sick, and it's very sad, but I
Yeah.
mean, like, it hasn't touched, like, my immediate family in that way. But I will
Right.
say I was in a pretty dark place mentally for a while, and I there was a period where I was like, "I just need something different." And the only novelty that I could create in my life, because I couldn't go anywhere, we couldn't do anything, we couldn't see anyone, was like, maybe they have different flavors of chips at the
Yes.
bodega or different flavors of, like, ice cream pints, and I would just like I did it like science, where I was like, oh, I guess I'll try all the Ample Hills flavors that they have at our
God.
bodega, which is like some people I think would say if they've got Ample Hills ice cream, not a real bodega, which I dispute,
Right.
but I understand the contention.
That's so funny. I'm a big fan of buffets. So I talk about that all the time and like
Love a buffet.
variety. If I like I would do the same thing. Like I would
Yeah.
also like if I like really get excited, I'll get several different kinds of chips and then just munch. And there's so many new fun things
Yep.
to
I love it.
try. It's really hard, especially with cereal. Like I go down the cereal aisle just to get like a dopamine hit. Like
Oh, that sounds so good.
it just to look at it because it's so fun because they have like all the especially I'll say Target has for whatever reason really good ones. And like when I was in Jersey recently, I went to Wegmans and
Mhm.
they had Dippin Dots cereal.
Whoa. Wait, can I tell you something? I just visited my parents in
Yeah.
Massachusetts, and they had the most incredible this people are gonna hear this who just, like, have big grocery stores around them and be like, "Josh, this is everywhere now," which
Yeah.
I apologize if this is too obvious, but
Oh
what
yeah.
they had was triangles, they looked like corn chips, right? That size,
Yeah.
but they were made of cannoli shell, and then
What?
separately
Oh,
yeah,
I did
wait,
see these. I saw
and
these.
then separately, it was a tub of mass-produced cannoli filling, so it was like a
Oh,
dessert cannoli nacho. Wow,
yes.
knocked my
Yes.
socks off.
I did you get them?
My parents had them at their house.
Oh, shut up.
Yeah, it was so
That's
good.
crazy.
It
Yeah,
was so good.
I saw them at Wegmans and I grabbed them and I was like, "What the fuck are these?"
It
And I
was
got so excited.
It was so good. I feel like, I'm sorry any Italian people that are hearing me talk about this that are like, "That's not what a cannoli is," but it's so good. Talk about deconstructed treat, and
Love it.
it was incredible, and that my mom served it, like, for dessert, like, we had dinner, and then she brought
Ooh,
out, like, a dish of the cannoli chips and, like, a lovely little, a smaller serving bowl with like a knife, and you would spread a little like
fuck.
mascarpone cheese or whatever, whatever the mass produced version of it is on the cannoli chip
Yeah.
and eat it. And it was incredible. It was like the way you would eat hummus with a
Shit.
little pita. It was so good.
That's ideal. I'm also a big fan of dessert nachos. I made dessert
Yeah.
nachos once. So, like, I love making things that look like other things.
Yep.
And so
Crossing that sweet savory boundary.
yes, and, like, I've made dessert nachos before. I mean, like, I'm a big, like, I'll try dessert pizza. I mean,
Mhm.
essentially, they just ruin all of, like, the foods that people covet, although I don't know if nachos really count as, like, a I don't know. Is it actually Mexican or is
I
that
don't
it
I That's a good question. I don't know the cultural origins of nachos.
I know I did go to Mexico and got and ordered nachos, and they looked like ass and were the best nachos I've ever had in my
Ooh.
life. Yeah.
That's like the best genre of food. That always makes
Yes.
me feel like because when the presentation is really like fancy and it tastes good, you're like, well, it better. But then
Yeah.
when something just it's like, wait a minute, this is just like a bowl of goo or whatever, and you eat it and you're like,
Right.
holy shit, whoever made this is a wizard. It's like incredible.
Exactly. Exactly. I was like, "Oh, fuck. Okay." And then we just ate it the entire time we were there. Um, but yeah, I saw the cannoli things and you really can't get good cannolis in LA. I'll say this, I haven't looked super hard, but like it's the same thing where it's like it's hard to find pizza that's really good.
Mm. Mhm. And
So,
people I hear this both ways, right? I
yeah,
have friends like because we're from a similar region in terms of
right.
like certain kinds of cuisine. And I know that there are people who are like, there's good pizza in LA. But I
Right.
will say, when you say that there's like good genre of food and everybody brings up the same two restaurants in a city of 3 million, 5 million people,
Right.
that, yes, of course, like every city has one good place or two good places to get pizza.
Right.
Um,
Right.
but that's different than a place where there's just like a density of pizza parlors where you can just like throw a dart and find
Yes.
and hit a man whose grandfather taught him how to make dough or a woman, that's just
Right.
like pizza in their DNA.
Right, like the kind of place where you just like walk in and you're like, I this is a pizza parlor. I guess I'll get pizza here. And then all of a sudden it's delicious.
Yeah. I love that. Speaking of sorry, this is off track, but
No, it doesn't
another
matter.
new flavor that I tried recently,
Yeah.
because I brought that up as an idea and I want to pay it off. That I
Yes.
had a bunch of chips. We got the cannoli chips with the cannoli spread.
Yeah.
I also recently I went out to eat sushi
Yeah.
with a friend, and they had like a chicken wing appetizer, and they
Mhm.
had a hot honey made with wasabi for the chicken wings.
Ooh, I love that.
And I tried it and was like, I'm listening, you know?
Oh, I mean, I like honey on chicken and I love like the sweet savory mix. That's like ideal for me because that's why it's like chicken and waffles is like
Mhm.
one of the greatest
It's so
things in
good.
the world because it's like there's a there I- it's I'm pressed to find like a more complete meal
Right,
of
it's got,
just like
like, all the flavors you want.
yeah, and guess what? I don't need vegetables. I eat
Yes.
them a lot, but I don't because I have to, and
Well,
it's a
my
struggle.
philosophy on nutrition, which,
I
like,
can't wait for this.
if people looked at me, they would be like, "This guy doesn't have a philosophy on nutrition," but I do. It
Okay.
is, I try to eat enough of what I need to stay alive,
Mhm.
baseline. Like, I'm not a person that's like, "Ugh, get those green beans, get that spinach away from me." Like, I like
Right.
vegetables, but once I've eaten enough fuel to keep me alive, everything else is in bounds.
Yes. I mean, I you should enjoy food.
Agreed.
I think that it's made people are like anybody that's like food is fuel. I'm like you're boring. See you later.
Right,
Like
people I truly don't relate to any worldview less than the people who are like, "Thank God there's Soylent."
yeah. Ugh. Oh God, I haven't heard of Soylent in so long. I used to try drinking it.
Oh, really?
Well, I like trying new things when
Sure.
there's hype around it. So
Mhm.
I when it came out, I was like, "Oh, I'm a tech bro now."
Yep.
Like,
Yeah, yeah,
and I
yeah.
tried it and I was like, "I know I feel like I'm supposed to like this, but it's trash."
I don't know if it's to like. You know
I
what I
don't
mean?
know. But it's like it is I love I like anything that's like a new concept. I'll try
Same.
almost anything. Like they have the Lay's potato chips that are flavored like other Lay's products. Like they've
Yeah.
got Cool Ranch Dorito potato
Mhm.
chips.
And you
And
said I, like, DM'd you because you posted them
yes,
on Instagram, and I was like, "This is incredible."
they
And
were
you were like,
bad.
"They're bad." You know what are good? Kettle Chips makes
Mm,
a ranch flavor, and they're
really?
very good. Yeah.
Are they like tangy or are they ranchy?
They're a little ranchier, like, they don't quite
Okay.
have that Doritos tang, but it's pretty close, like, I bought them and I was like again, I was like, "Hey, I'll try anything. I just need to get my brain producing a different chemical than it's produced for the last week."
Yeah.
So I tried it and I was like, it doesn't seem very highbrow, but I will keep buying these.
I mean, I will literally try anything. I think that's the truth. Like, I would literally try anything. I don't need to eat live octopus. Like, there are
Sure.
things like I will try anything trash American, and I'll also try anything pretty internationally. Like, if I go to a different country, which I have not traveled much, and also COVID, so
Mhm.
who knows, I will go to a grocery store immediately.
Oh, I love
And
that.
yeah, and that is, like, the first place I go or 7-Eleven. Like, when I was in Thailand, I would just go to 7-Eleven all the time and stock up on every snack
That
and
sounds so
just,
good.
like, fucking go back to the hotel room and be like, "Oh my god, like, this is crazy." And
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
no, 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 go for it.
My childhood friends and a group of my childhood friends and I, during the pandemic, we ordered one of those, like we all signed up for this subscription snack mail-in or, yeah, mail order service,
Yes, yes.
and, excuse me, once a month, we would get on Zoom and we would taste all the snacks, and we would each put down in the Zoom chat our ranking of the, like, 7 snacks or whatever for the month, and we
I
would
mean,
debate
that's
them.
fucking brilliant. Did
It
you not pitch this as a TV show?
It was so fun. We had such a great time, and I've been, like, lax about it because everyone's still doing it. We switched subscription services because the one we were doing was a little unreliable, but
Yeah,
I've been, like, out a little more on Sunday nights, and it just, like, makes sense because, like, a lot of my childhood friends have, like, kids now and work more, like, classic 9 to 5 structured jobs,
sure.
and so I've had, like, a little stand-up and stuff on Sundays, and I've been less reliable, but it was so much fun. We would just get on and we would be like, "Oh, this is so good," or like, oh, I thought this was gonna be good. It tastes like garbage. And it was so cool. It was like such a great way because I thought like, do you remember like 14 months ago, people were like, we're just doing Zoom happy hour. And I was like,
Yeah.
I need structure because
Yeah.
I cannot focus on just like, hey, how is everybody? Let's go around in a circle and we'll all just talk about how we are.
I know, and we didn't know how to, like, not talk over each other,
Mhm.
and, like, it was yes, it was a mess. I went to some Zoom birthday parties, and we were all kind of like, "Ugh." But
It's tough.
like, ideally, I want this podcast to, like, end up being, like, in a studio where I can try the same snacks with
Oh,
people.
that's so fun.
I know, but it's like, eventually but I fucking love that. I love, like, trying shit and being like, what is this?" So that's, like that's the best. I am glad that you guys did that. Um, I wanna get into a couple games, if
Let's
you
do
don't
it.
mind.
Okay.
Um, and so first, I've got 2 truths and a lie, and so you're gonna have to guess the lie. I've
Okay.
used facts about Kix
Okay.
and I have 3 rounds. One of them is like you already guessed, but, we'll see. We're gonna just basically see if you win, and then,
Great.
if you lose, you have to kill yourself.
This
Um
sounds higher stakes than you put it across in an email. The
Oh,
email just said I could chop off a foot
yeah, no, exactly. You have to slice yourself up and create a subscription box with your body
of my
part.
body
Yeah,
parts. Okay.
exactly.
Okay.
So here we go. Here's the first 3 statements. Kix was introduced to the market in 1937. 2. Kix was the first puffed corn cereal ever made. 3. The only discontinued Kix flavor is Cocoa Kix.
Huh. This all is very believable to me.
I mean, I'm good at what I do. What can I say?
You are good. I said that off mic. I was like, there is no podcast that is a better union of host and subject matter. So I knew you weren't coming to mess
Thank you.
around. Um okay. Introduced in what year?
Introduced in 1937.
And then first puffed corn
The
cereal,
first puff corn cereal ever.
and then discontinued Cocoa Kicks. 37 sounds so early. That's like there were kicks during World War II? No way.
Yeah, I
I'm, I'm,
mean,
I'm gonna say that's the lie.
okay, well, you're wrong.
Is it
Uh,
Cocoa Kicks?
no, yeah, it's Cocoa Kix.
Yeah, that was my next guess. That it
I
was.
mean, that makes sense, but it
Yeah,
is wild that it was invented in 1937, like,
like,
during the Depression.
like it's weird, right? That's so long ago. Like
Yes,
that means like Herbert Hoover could have eaten kicks.
and the recipe is, like, really not been adjusted. It's just
Wow.
literally the same fucking thing.
I bet people were losing their goddamn minds in the 30s and 40s over kicks. It was probably
I
the
know.
sweetest food they'd ever tasted.
I know, and you know what's so funny? It's made with, like, I think cornmeal, is what I saw,
Mhm.
and, they which, like, I was thinking about it, and I was like, I think cornbread is made of cornmeal and blah, 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 and cornbread tastes sweet for some reason,
It does.
even though there's, like, really not, like, a sugar in it, so it's interesting.
Yeah.
Um but yes, the Kix flavor, Cocoa Kix, they've only had 3 flavors the entire time. It's the honey and it's the berry and then the normal. So, Cocoa Kix, although I think it would be a good idea.
I think it would be pretty good. But I like didn't remember it in my life. But if we're talking, I was like, if kicks came in the 30s, who knows? There could have been gruel flavored kicks and
I mean,
like Freedom Garden flavored Victory Garden flavored kicks with just herbs and spices and stuff.
I know exactly. Um, okay, so here's the next round. You failed that one, just
Yeah.
keeping track.
All right. So
Um,
I am sawing off my right leg at the knee.
Perfect. Okay. So here are the next 3 statements. The Kix slogan has never been changed. Kid tested, mother approved.
So I know that's the lie because
Yeah,
I looked it up.
exactly.
I looked it up like true, not because of this podcast, but I looked it up like 2 months ago. Because I
Yeah.
saw Kix in the store and I was
Yeah.
like, kid tested, parent approved. That's not what I remember it being. And then I almost tweeted about it, but I didn't want to talk with anybody about it, so I didn't. I like have a thought. I was like, this would be a funny tweet, but then people are going to want to talk to me about it, and I don't want
Yeah.
that. But I was truly like, I can't believe this hasn't become like a right-wing culture war example of like
Yeah.
parent approved. Oh, so it's not just moms approving cereals now.
I know, exactly. No, I mean, and pretty progressive. I mean, I don't think they were pressured to do that. Like
No,
nobody was like the outrage over mother approved.
no, it just seems like the like a natural progression of like how we think about language and like how we think about who like distribution of labor within a household. Like it's just like, oh
Right.
yeah,
Gender
dads
roles.
dads can buy cereal.
Yeah, fuck. Dads can buy cereal. Two moms can buy cereal. Two
Right,
dads can buy
right.
cereal. We can all fucking
Emancipated
buy
minors can
cereal.
buy themselves cereal.
Yeah, exactly.
What
God,
were the truths in this round?
okay, the same machine used to create Kix was used to create Cheerios. So,
Interesting.
it's like a puffing machine. They called it like a puffing gun that would
Mhm,
just take the shit and, like, pop out a
mhm.
puffed version of it.
That's what they use. That's what Javier Bardem used in No Country for Old Men to kill all those people.
Oh, that's right. Um, okay, and then the other one was one of the former mascots for Kix was a saxophone with no body.
That rules.
Isn't that they couldn't find a mascot, so they tried out a bunch of different mascots, and,
Mhm.
somehow a saxophone with no body made it into the mix.
As a child, to me, a saxophone was by far the coolest musical instrument.
Really? Was that because
Oh,
of The
yeah.
Simpsons?
I guess The Simpsons. I mean, even small when I was even smaller child, like
Yeah.
Put Down the Ducky from Sesame Street, where Ernie just wants
Oh.
to rip it on the saxophone,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
but he's holding this rubber duck, and they're like, "Dude, you got to put it down if you want to play that sax solo, big dog."
Oh my god, that's so funny. The other ones that they tried were, a kid in pajamas,
All right,
a farmer kid,
that stinks.
I know, and a weird beatnik with a goatee. I wish
That
a
also
goat was
really
it.
stinks.
A beret?
No, a
Yes,
beret. Like, did the
just
beret have a face?
I have no idea. I don't have pictures of it, but I
Okay.
just, like, I'm look at, like, yeah, a beret and a saxophone who had no body, just
See,
feet attached to his head.
if you that is how I picture a saxophone, like
W
a sentient saxophone, right?
with feet attached to the head? I'm trying
Well, I
to
mean, what's
understand what
the
that
head?
looks
It's
like.
a saxophone. I just picture the legs and
Yeah, I
arms coming out
guess.
of the saxophone. Because
Yeah,
a
I guess that
saxophone,
makes sense.
if you were like a saxophone with a body, that to me is like human with saxophone head, way weirder.
Shit, that's actually true. They tried a bunch of stuff before they gave up. They tried like a whole thing where they had like a cartoon cow, and like in one of the TV ads, the cow punched someone who complained that the cornflakes were soggy, or like it's just like really uh it was a little bit dark for a while in the
Yeah.
1960s, and then
What
they
if
were just like, we give up, we're just going to do a corn husk
mhm.
and a picture of the cereal, and I'm like, you know what, that's fine, I don't fucking need a cartoon.
No, but I do wish that I'd seen saxophone because I bet he or she could play their own body with their own hands.
I mean, I would love to know like the thought process around that, but
So you know what kids love? Jazz.
exactly. You know, it's like one of the coolest things. Definitely jazz. Definitely a beatnik with a goatee.
Beatnik is very weird. Farmer kid, look, I'm not anti-farmer, but when I'm like,
No.
"Ooh, I want like when I was a child and I was like, "Ooh, I want like kind of a bad like this is gonna be like a sweet treat cereal."
Yeah.
I wasn't like, "Oh, you know what that makes me think of? agriculture.
No,
Like,
exactly. I grew up around farms and I was like, have you ever looked at a farmer's hand? Because it's fucking dirty because they're in the dirt. If you think I want this farmer kid touching my fucking cereal, you're bananas.
dirty little hands.
Yeah, like, that's how I picture it. Whenever I see a farmer, I'm like, "Ugh." You're like, I mean, you're doing the Lord's work. You're, like, making our food, but at the
Mhm.
same time, I'm just like, "Bro, there's no way you're getting that dirt out from under your fingernails."
No, that's there forever. That's baked in now. That's
Yeah,
that's what the hamburger helper glove is. It is just to cover a farmer's filthy hand.
that's so true. That's so funny. Fuck, that's right. I forgot that we just, like, okayed a hand as the
Just
hamburger helper.
a big hand with a face in the middle.
Wow, interesting. Okay, well, you won that round,
Yes.
because technically, because you already fucking knew it.
Yes.
So we've got 1 for 1. Here is the tiebreaker.
Okay.
All right, here are the last 3 statements. This is a little bit of a challenging one. Okay,
Okay.
one serving of Kix has 4 grams of sugar.
Okay.
One serving of Kix has 3 grams of protein, or one serving of Kix has 3 grams of sugar. It's a little technical.
Yeah. 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 That's tough. 4 grams of sugar. So it's got to be one of those two because they can't both be true.
Well,
One of
right.
those is the
Oh,
lie.
yeah, you know what? Sometimes I honestly shit the bed on this game, and I was like, "Oh, that's got it." Okay, well, I helped you out a little bit,
You did.
so
So it's 4 grams of sugar, 3 grams of sugar. I'm going to say regular Kix has 3 grams, Berry Kix has 4 grams. So I'm going to say 4 grams is the lie.
wow. Well, you did lose,
Ah,
but it was a great effort.
4 grams was the lie? Or
4
sorry,
gram no,
three
3 grams
grams
was
was
the
the
lie.
lie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is interesting it has protein in it, though.
Yeah.
I mean, I have no idea. I would just assume, like, nothing that tastes good has protein in it.
Have been grinding them up, putting them in a shake, and drinking them before workout.
Or those people who literally like Joel Kim Booster does it where he puts chicken in a blender
Oh,
and
really?
then drinks that.
Huh.
It's
I do
fucking insane.
I know people that use, like, the protein powders to work
Right.
out,
Right.
which
But like just chicken breast.
yeah, that's fascinating. I
It's
wonder
like making baby food.
what's the advantage to drinking
Mm, getting more protein. Also, I'm eating cucumbers. Sorry.
it?
I was gonna try to hide it, and then it was like I've
I
just had
definitely saw you are on video.
I know. Well, I had a meeting with my manager earlier on video, and I just started eating ham, and he was like, "Are you eating ham?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm definitely eating ham. I forgot to try to hide it."
There's
And he was
it's so you wouldn't have been able to hide it. Like, have you watched, I Think You Should Leave?
yeah.
The sketch where he's eating the hot dog out of his
Yes.
sleeve is what that would
Yes.
have looked like if you're trying to hide the fact that you're openly eating cucumber slices.
I know. Well, I was like, sometimes I like to eat on the podcast, and it's like good ASMR. I also found Mountain Dew Major Melon, but it's
Ooh,
the diet kind, which I haven't found, and I'm a big fan. So
I've never
um
tried that Mountain Dew.
um it tastes like a Jolly Rancher.
Alright.
So if you like Jolly Ranchers, which I had recently, absolutely chipped a tooth. Never had a Jolly
Oh,
Rancher in my
no.
adult life where I haven't chipped a tooth. But you know
Jolly
what?
Rancher is a dangerous because it's like if you have like a Starlight peppermint, you can
Mm,
you can bust that up with your teeth pretty easily. A
yeah,
Jolly Rancher like sticks to your top and bottom teeth if you try to bite it. It does not want to be defeated.
100%. 100%.
Mhm.
Um, well, you lost 2 truths and a lie, which is
Yeah,
fine.
thank you.
I mean, you will have to now suffer the consequences, but
Yeah, I'm sawing off my right arm at the elbow currently, off
good,
camera.
good. And send it in a box, and we'll try it on
Mhm,
Zoom.
mhm.
We'll try it together. Um,
I'll eat my left arm and left leg. I'll ask
Exactly.
my loving wife to saw off my left arm.
Oh, that would be so sweet.
It
That
would
would
be
be a nice thing to do.
it would be so nice of her if I could just ask her to do that and she would do it. I think she would have questions.
Probably. She would need a cigarette after. She would
It's a
definitely.
pandemic. If I'm gonna saw off my husband's
Yeah.
limbs, I need a
Look,
cigarette.
if I gotta do this, I deserve a cigarette. And I'm like,
Mhm,
you know what? I agree. You
mhm.
should. Um, okay, so the last game that we're gonna play
Yes, please.
is Fuck Mary Kill
Okay,
Poly Partner. So you're familiar with Fuck Mary Kill, yes?
correct. Yes.
Great. So on snack time, we're very progressive
Okay,
and we don't want to be exclusive. We don't want to exclude, relationships that I personally could never do because I'm emotionally incapable. But
sure.
um, so this is how the poly partner aspect works.
Please.
You just get them in addition to your married partner. So
Got it.
you can have them together. You could do a little threesome,
Mhm.
or you can engage with them as much or as little as you want, but your married is your primary. Does that
Got it.
make sense?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
This is
Uh,
a very LA wrinkle to this podcast.
is it? It's like if you want to have an open relationship with potato chips,
Mhm.
you should have an open
You
relationship
just
with.
have to really have communication with
Yeah.
carrot sticks.
Exactly. You just have to let them know that sometimes they're just too boring and you gotta branch out and get a little bit and then you'll come back. And then,
Mhm.
um, okay, so we have 3 themed rounds of that too.
Let's do it.
So here's the first round and it is themed fall candy.
Okay,
Okay, so here are your choices. Reese's peanut butter cups shaped like pumpkins, which
great.
doesn't really affect the flavor, but
No, but it's seasonal. I get it.
yeah. Candy corn,
Yep.
pumpkin spice caramels,
Huh.
and caramel apple lollipops. Do you know the kind I'm
Okay.
talking about?
Yes.
They're like
Yeah.
green and they have caramel on them, but
Yep.
they're like,
Yes.
yes, okay.
Yep. Okay. I am I'm gonna marry Reese's peanut butter cups.
Yeah, that's a good choice.
It's just a solid it's a fall candy with the pumpkin shape, but a year-round candy.
Yes.
Um, I am going to fuck candy corn.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I'm
Okay.
not an anti-candy corn,
I'm not
uh,
really either.
person, but I do think I need, like, 7 candy corn, and then I'm out. Because if I eat
Yeah.
more, it has that, like I'll just keep eating them if they're, like, in a dish and then be like, "Why does my mouth feel like I, have been eating, like, the stuff you put at the bottom of a fish tank texturally?"
So true.
So fuck candy corn. I've never had the I've never had the pumpkin spice caramels, but I do
Oh,
like
okay.
caramels.
Okay. Okay.
So, this in the spirit of like opening up a relationship, having new
Yeah.
experiences, trying new things, I will poly partner um pumpkin spice caramels, which I guess leaves me killing caramel apple lollipops.
Wow. Okay. Interesting.
I
You
just
don't.
feel like oh go ahead, sorry.
No, 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 no. Explain.
They're like fine to me. I just feel like as an adult, it just is a weird look eating a lollipop
Sure.
ever. Not in a sexual way. I think people think it's
Right.
sexual, but I do feel like as an adult, whenever you eat a lollipop, it looks like a kid with those big giant swirl lollipops. Like every lollipop was just like, look
Well,
when
what
you're a grown up.
adults are licking their lollipop and not sucking
Not
on it?
sucking. Even sucking. Sucking almost feels like a trait of a villain in like a Quentin
Yeah.
Tarantino movie.
100%. I do have lollipops all the time, just so
Really?
you. I know. It's like it's weird. Well, here's the other thing, and I talk about this sometimes too. I will crunch immediately if I have
Mhm,
a hard candy, but I love hard candy. So I
mhm.
need something to slow me down.
And that
And
lollipop paces you better.
it does, and it's the same thing with an ice cream cone versus a
Mhm.
cup of ice cream. Because if I have a cup of ice cream, I will fucking go in, but if I have a cone, I've gotta, like, pace myself a little bit.
And you've gotta consider the structural integrity of the cone. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's like yeah, so I mean, but our choices are very similar. I am not anti-candy corn at all. So I think generally I love caramel, but a full caramel is too much for me.
Mhm.
I've
I get that.
never been able to do well with that. I mean, I like it in its but like a candy I can't do.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna kill the caramel.
Okay.
I am going to marry the Reese's because
Yeah.
obvious choice.
That feels like a slam dunk. You gotta
E
lock it down with Reese's.
exactly. So, I'm gonna marry the Reese's, and then I think I'm gonna poly with the lollipops because I like them. They're an interesting surprise
Mhm.
to me.
Mhm. And so you're also fuck candy corn.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I agree, like, the logic I completely agree with because it's just like, every now and then I'm like, "Is candy corn bad?" And then I
No.
have some and I'm like, "This isn't bad. It tastes
No.
like creamy." And then
Yep.
I'm like, "You know what? I'm out. I don't wanna do this right now."
Yes. That's when I could not agree more. It is truly one night stand candy.
Yes, 100%. And you know what? It's fun and it's enticing and it's cool colors, and so
Mhm.
it's, like, got a lot of attractive qualities to
Yep.
it. I agree. That's the perfect choice. So
Great.
we're pretty much aligned,
We're very
except
aligned on this. I feel
you
really
need
good about that.
I do too, except you need to give lollipops a chance is my
Okay.
only thing.
Sure. I'm easily those
I
were
know
the
you're like,
2
"Okay,
those are the 2 least strongly held beliefs
okay,
of these 4 candies, like, those could flip easily, but
fair.
Reese's peanut butter
You have
pumpkins,
to."
candy corn is like those were the 2 that popped into my mind
Yeah.
immediately.
No, absolutely, you're totally right. I like the instincts, go with
Thank
that.
you. Thank you.
Okay, so the next category is lunchbox snacks.
Okay.
So we have Gushers,
Mhm.
Goldfish,
Mhm.
Sun Chips, and a
Mhm.
Twinkie.
Okay. I am going to marry Goldfish.
Oh my god!
Yep.
Interesting.
Mhm. It just feels like and if it was Cheez-Its, I would not say the same thing. I
Wait,
prefer
explain this.
I prefer a Goldfish to a Cheez-It. I feel like there's just like a sharpness to the taste of a Cheez-It. Like a Goldfish is a little more mild.
Okay, I mean, interesting. Okay.
That's how I feel. I
Okay.
really like the flavor of a Goldfish. I haven't had them
Okay.
in years, but
Yeah,
like married Goldfish, I feel like you could eat them 11 a.m. through the rest of the
you
day.
can. They're great. They're, like, made to be like a snack.
Yeah. Gushers, I'm gonna you know, okay, gonna fuck a Twinkie.
Mhm.
Fuck the Twinkie for sure. It is not something I want often.
Mhm.
Uh but it is like when you like to have one like once a year is like, man, this is kind of weird and good.
Yeah,
Fuck the
absolutely.
fuck the Twinkie. Poly partner with Gushers, I think.
Mm.
And
'Kay,
then
yes.
kill the Sun Chips. I just like look, I don't know what kind of devil's bargain they've struck with the Subway chain of restaurants, but Subway needs to value itself as the most numerous chain restaurant in America, and they need
Yeah.
to get a chip. They need to get on board with a chip that people want.
Yes. Oh
Sun
my
Chips
god.
Sun Chips again feels very 90s to me. It feels like, "Oh, this is
Ugh,
like the healthy chip," and it's like, I don't think it
yes.
is, and it's also not that good.
No, it's not that good. I'll say, first of all, I just had Goldfish. I'm not even particularly interested in because I
Okay,
like the sharpness of a Cheez It,
okay,
but I agree that they're a good snack. And I just had Megan Gailey on,
mhm.
and she rides hard for Goldfish.
Oh, interesting.
And she says that there's updated versions because I like a little powder on my hand. I like a
Yeah. They have like a
little
pizza goldfish. Did she bring that? Is that one?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
so
know what
I
you
like
mean.
I like
You
a
look
little
like a
powder on my
farmer.
hand. Yeah,
Like
exactly.
a
I
farmer
mean, my
snack.
hands are dirty, but it's like snack residue. So it's like, are they dirty? That's the question.
Mhm.
Um, but I actually am completely aligned with you on all of these,
Okay, great.
which is yeah, completely aligned. Um, which Sun Chips, I fully agree. I just like who the fuck buys them?
They're they're just I don't know what it's like Hunt's ketchup where it's like,
Mm.
what are we still doing here?
Yes. I know. I'm like, why do you guys still make that? I've never seen a store that doesn't have like a plethora of Sun Chips. Can you imagine you work for like a chip company and your whole thing is Sun Chips? That's definitely a second tier job.
Yeah, right. Like you tried to get a job at one of the places that has, I think the Frito Lay employees or the Nabisco
Yeah.
employees are still striking, but like you're trying to get a job at Ruffles or whatever, and they are like, your resume isn't quite up to snuff, and then you get hired at Sun Chips.
Yeah. Sun Chips are just like, ew, what? Like, it would be embarrassing if you were like, okay, my job is to like advertise Sun Chips. And you're like, bro, what?
And
Like, did you
uh,
go to school?
imagine going to your high school reunion and they're like, "What do you do?" And you're like, "I work in chips." And they're like, "Ooh," and they're like, "Who do you work for? Is it Kettle Chips? Is it Cape Cod potato chips? My personal favorite." And they're like, Sun Chips. Just Sun Chips. Just for now, the economy's been bad. I'm at Sun Chips.
I know. I'm like, okay. I mean, I'm not interested in hearing more about that. Or like,
Like
you're
it's a
the
less
chef.
interesting job, even.
Yeah, it's like, ugh, like you could have named something else. But
Mhm.
I also like I didn't grow up eating Twinkies, but like a Twinkie is just it's solid,
Yeah.
every now and then. But Gushers, Gushers are one of the ultimate lunchbox snacks, in my opinion.
Yes. I think you know what? When given that that is the category, it is hard to say no to a gusher. I feel like when
Yeah.
someone pulls a bag of gushers out of a lunchbox specifically,
Mm.
you're like, someone cares about you. Whether
Yes.
someone packed that for you or you packed it for yourself and you care for yourself, because that is when you're bringing a lunchbox, a gusher is like, if you're trading
Ugh,
snacks, it's
yes.
gold. It's, yeah.
I mean, when I sitting by someone who pulled Gushers out of their lunchbox,
Mhm.
it was just like I don't even know what to say. There's no way you're gonna want my apple, but I
Nope.
need you to give me at least one. I
It
would just
It
beg.
feels if you're if you're looking at snacks and you're talking snacks at like a lunch table or like at a summer camp lunch situation and you get something someone pulls out gushers, it's like you're trying to flirt with someone and then someone else pulls out an acoustic guitar and it's just like your body is a wonderland. You're like, I can't compete with that.
I love that. No, it's true. It's totally true. Um, fuck, so we're totally aligned on that. I love
Love
that.
this. Yeah.
And then the last category, appropriately, is cereal.
Okay.
So here we go. We've got honeycomb,
Interesting.
frosted. I know. Well, the shape sells it.
Wonderful
Um,
shape.
frosted flakes,
Okay.
special K with strawberries,
All right.
and Captain Crunch Oops All Berries.
Okay.
I purposefully left out Lucky Charms, which will always be my number one.
Interesting. I might go number one, uh, Cinnamon Toast Crunch, which which we talked about earlier. It came up
Right,
earlier
right,
this year.
right, right. They have Dolce de Leche Cinnamon Toast Crunch now, by the way.
Wow. And I
I
heard
know.
that's hey, I like that they're branching out.
They're trying to do some stuff. I
Mhm,
don't hate it.
mhm. You gotta try new things. We've talked about this.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's honeycomb. What was the second one?
Frosted Flakes.
Okay. This is tough because we've got two cereals that are hard on the mouth.
Mhm.
And they're arguably the two most delicious of the cereals that you mentioned.
Yep.
I'm gonna go marry Oops All Berries.
Ooh, okay.
again, my familiarity with honeycomb is low.
Yeah. It's not, I mean, I've had it a bit, but it's
Mhm.
not like, I mean, the thing about honeycomb is that the shape really is what sells it
Yeah.
because it does taste similar to other cereals. Like
I
I wouldn't be able to pick it up out of a lineup.
I do love a Honey Nut Cheerio, and it feels like
Yes,
it's in that world.
it
So,
is.
okay, Mary Oops All Berries, Polly Partner Honeycomb, a
Okay.
slightly less aggressive texture, maybe.
Right.
Fuck Frosted Flakes,
Mhm.
kill Special K with strawberries, which is one of those fake healthy cereals. And there's
Right.
this is kind of, I've like hinted at it. There's very little I like less in a snack than when it's got one world in fake healthy, or one foot in fake healthy and another foot in doesn't taste very good. And it's like, just give me the less like quote unquote healthy or nutritious snack that tastes better, or give me a carrot, or give me an
Sure.
apple, something that is nutritive and tastes good. But like veggie sticks or whatever, it's just like I have no use for fake healthy snacks.
Yeah. No, I
And
completely agree.
that's what Special K feels like to me.
Yes. I okay. I mean, I understand that. I think that's good logic. I also agree I mean, Captain Crunch Oops All Berries, it's a risk, you
Yeah.
know?
Yep.
That is a roof of the mouth
Yep.
risk.
Same with Frosted Flakes for me though.
Really? I haven't had them in
Yeah.
so long, but I didn't I guess they're not I guess they're okay. Um, okay, so I would kill Frosted Flakes, to be honest. They are
Ooh,
boring
interesting.
to me. They're
Okay.
boring, and I would
Okay.
actually marry Special K with strawberries.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm a big fan of freeze-dried stuff,
Hmm.
and I love a cereal that incorporates a freeze-dried element
Hmm.
with something else that's crunchy. So that I think that's why I like, um Lucky Charms because I
Hmm.
fucking love the
The little
stupid
marshmallows.
marshmallows. Yeah,
Yeah.
and the strawberries, I mean, you can now buy freeze-dried strawberries, in a thing, and I do, and that is when my hands turn red, but,
Mhm.
um,
Like
I'd
a farmer's
solid I
murdered.
yeah, I could eat Special K with strawberries probably every day.
Wow. My top cereals that everyday, like I for especially for sweet cereals,
Yeah,
Honey Nut Cheerios might be actually at the top because it is like it's not quite like Cinnamon Toast Crunch where you're like, this is not this
right.
the sugar content is just through the roof. But Honey Nut
Yes.
Cheerios, then maybe Berry Kicks, and then Cinnamon Toast Crunch. But I don't, again, because I
Hmm.
like a cereal that borders on snack treat, and I
What do
don't eat
you
a lot of cereal in the morning.
how do you feel about Golden Grams?
I like a Golden Graham.
Ugh, I like a graham anything.
Mhm.
So anything that's made with graham flour, which I didn't even know existed
I didn't
until
realize that.
I tried to recreate Dunkaroos over the pandemic,
Mhm.
and the cookie itself is made with graham flour, which is like a specific kind of flour, and that's what makes it taste like that. So that's what's like
That's so
in
cool.
I know. So that I could eat a fucking graham
Yeah.
constantly,
Do you
but
do you subscribe to the Unsnackable newsletter?
no,
Oh, it's so good. Hold on, let me um uh sorry.
definitely send it to me because I wanna subscribe to everything snacks. I follow so many snack accounts on Instagram now, and I'm just like,
I can't
"Wow."
find her last name, but she mostly goes by Folu. And it's her on Twitter and Instagram. She's at not Folu, Folu. And
Mm.
she writes this newsletter, Unsnackable, all about international snacks that she does not have access to. But the reason I thought of her, it's like my favorite newsletter, email newsletter. But the reason I thought about her was because she also made Dunkaroos in the past year because she
She
was
did.
disappointed by the Dunkaroos reboot that they released in stores.
Shit, yeah, I mean, that was right up my alley. You know what was so interesting about the online recipes for the frosting is that many of them included, like, putting literal funfetti cake mix,
Huh.
into kind of like Cool Whip,
Okay.
or, like, into frosting,
Huh.
which I was like, very interesting in terms of like, I mean, it definitely like affected the texture. I just get so excited. I don't know who the fuck comes up with this stuff, but
It's so fun.
um yeah. But I
Yep.
want to look up snackable. That's what it's called? Snackable?
Unsnackable. Yeah.
Unsnackable. Got it. Got it. Got it. Yeah, I'm gonna look that up because I am excited about it. Um, but yeah,
It's so good.
let me see. Oh, here we
And
go. Got it. Follow immediately. Unsnackable. Um, yeah, I'm into that. I want international snacks. Honestly, the whole point of this podcast is really just to get I don't even care if they sponsor me, but I just really want people to send me free food.
I love that. I
Yeah.
think that's a great goal. Who doesn't?
Yeah.
I'm I'm in comedy for the occasional free treats and
Ugh.
sandwiches.
Have you ever had something sent to a green room for you that
Ooh,
like I want to be at the point where like I do a show and people are like, "Hey, someone sent you a basket of snacks."
that's
And
so
I'm just
fun.
fuck, that's the best thing I've ever heard in my
I
life.
I had when I worked at Last Week Tonight,
Yeah.
the people at Polar Seltzer sent us like a
Mm.
care package of like hats and t-shirts and a bunch of seltzer flavors, and that felt pretty cool.
Do you guys get
Um,
stuff at Desus Mero?
we got White Castle hooked us up
Oh my
recently.
god.
Yeah, that was pretty fun. But it was like 10 in the morning.
Okay. I mean, look, if you're gonna try it, you're gonna try it. I
Yeah,
feel like
and I
there was
did.
an ice cream thing I saw,
Oh, what
like
was that?
bodega
Oh,
something.
they did a collaboration. Jesus and Mero did a collaboration with Oddfellows ice cream. And the ice cream flavors, I tried, I think they did 6 and they hooked me up. The Oddfellows people hooked me up. I got 4 of them. And
Fuck.
they range from good, like very good ice cream to like the Chico Sticks flavor, which is coconut and
Oh,
peanut
yeah.
butter together, is like one of the
Yeah.
best ice creams I've ever had.
I want them. I don't even know if they sell them in LA. I fucking love ice cream.
I think I got them. It was really it was too expensive, but my friend just my one of my best friends just moved, and I sent him the capsule of 6 pints as last summer as a
Oh,
housewarming gift.
that's so
And
nice.
thank you. But it I think would be just like I was like, oh, it's a housewarming gift. Like, I'll ship it across the country. But I think if it was just me, like, I'd like to try these ice creams, it would be like a little more than I would spend on that.
I know it's hard. I although now they have ice cream on Uber Eats, and I'm like,
Ooh,
yes, please. So I can just order from like Jenny's or Salt and Straw, and
that's
it's a
amazing.
living nightmare. No, it's great. It's amazing. Um,
I love ice cream.
what was I gonna say? I should do an ice cream category at some point. I don't know
Yeah.
why I didn't do that, but I would. Did I already like? I definitely would kill Frosted Flakes. I would marry Special
Marry
K with
Yep,
strawberries. I think that I would poly with honeycomb.
yep, that's where I was too. And then so
Yeah.
you'd fuck Oops All Berries?
Yeah, because they're
Great
kinda
choice.
wild, but
Mhm.
they would hurt after a while.
Yeah.
They
Yep,
would
agreed.
be a little rough. Captain Crunch also, plain Captain Crunch sucks.
Yeah. The
So,
berries
like,
are
that's where
the
it's
be
at. I like a flash of too much sugar in my
same.
cereal.
I don't eat like, there's no in no world do I want a cereal that is like, quote unquote, "good for me." Like,
Mm-mm.
I'm I want a cereal that tastes delicious and like cinnamon toast crunch or whatever borders on too sweet for every occasion. But
Right.
like I lean more towards like that, the Berry Berry Kicks, the Honey Nut Cheerios than a grape nuts, where it's like I
Yeah.
never want a breakfast that tastes like, oh, this is what they would feed an orphan in the 1920s 3 times a day so they would have like enough nutrition to not die.
Right. No, totally. I want it to be like I want it to sit in like a category between like the same category that animal crackers sit in.
Mhm.
Do you know what
Yes.
I mean? Where you're
That's
like,
perfect.
Is it a cracker or a cookie?
And I don't feel that way. It's not like everything I eat has to be sweet, like, or every breakfast thing I
Right.
eat. Like, I would happily eat, like, a lightly sweetened oatmeal, like an oatmeal with just a
Mm,
little brown sugar or whatever, just to give it a
right.
little taste. I don't need everything to taste like candy, but that to me is the place cereal occupies in my imagination.
I completely agree with that. I mean, we're pretty aligned. I feel like you chose an incredible snack.
Thank you.
Um, what is your current go-to snack?
Ooh, that's a good question. So I've been
Right?
trying a bunch of different kinds of chips, as I mentioned,
Ah.
and those ranch kettle chips are
Mm.
pretty good. There's like the places in my neighborhood are really stocked with that brand for whatever reason,
Mhm.
and so the ranch are maybe my favorite. There's also a wavy dill pickle flavor.
I saw that in the store last night.
I like that. I like
It's
that
good?
too. Yeah. Yeah, very
Interesting.
pickly,
Very pickly. Okay.
which I
Yeah,
like.
and I guess I didn't realize that dill pickle has been in Canada for, like, 4,000,000 years
Oh,
already, and
yeah,
so it just came to the US. I don't know
and
when, maybe probably not as recent. I probably didn't know about it for longer, but
but
fuck,
it's
okay.
I
Those are
I
good
recommend.
choices.
Yeah, I like a strong flavor on a chip, and then,
Me too.
um yeah, and I like a hard crunch.
Me too. I was just I hate Lay's so much. I just have a fucking vendetta against them
Mhm.
for making the shittiest chips
That's
because
how I
they melt in your mouth.
yeah, I want 'em my ideal potato chip is like a pane of glass dipped in Old Bay.
Yes. Yes. I completely agree. Yeah. I like a hearty chip.
Yeah, me too. Again,
Um,
we're aligned on this.
Perfect. Well, you've been a great guest.
Thank
You
you.
picked a great snack. Yeah, I'm so glad that you were able to come on. Tell everybody where they can find you, plug all your shit.
I am at Josh Gondelman, Gondel man on Twitter and Instagram. I'm legally too old to be on TikTok. Um, I am. I have a podcast called Make My Day, which is
Yes,
a
you do.
comedy game show where
It's
there's
so
only.
fun.
Oh my gosh, thank you. I really like doing it, and excuse me, it's a game show where there's only one contestant per episode, so
Yeah.
the contestant is guaranteed to win. Um, I am a writer and producer on Desus Mero, which comes back, I believe, in early October. We're on a little hiatus right now, and then we're just got renewed for season 4 next year, which is very
Hell
exciting.
yeah. Congrats.
Thank you. And I have a book called Nice Try. If you're into reading, if you're like, I like this guy, his ideas, but the voice is not for me.
That's amazing. You are hilarious,
Thank
and
you.
I am so glad you were able to come on. I'll post all the links to all the shit in
Oh,
the
thanks.
description. And yeah, thank you for being on. Thanks for listening, all you guys. I really appreciate it. Do all the stuff so other people listen too. And goodbye.